Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today because it is Chiefs weekend. Raiders heading to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Morning game on the West Coast, 10 a.m. early window. If you see the schedule, like the map of the broadcast schedule, it's like 3/4 of the United States. That's the primary game. Like the whole country is going to be watching this game on Sunday. It's weird that they chose this game to be the Raiders. Hey, everyone, come watch this game. But rivalry game, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know what? They got their shit pushed in the last time. Let's just show the country, let's show the nation how bad the Raiders really are. Push our narrative a little further as the NFL tends to do.
NFL's playing a little dirty with us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're doing a lot more stuff here now that we've surpassed the threshold for like subscribers.
We're like big girls now. We're like big girls. We're doing more stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing like what junior college girls will do to you, not your high school girlfriend, your junior college girlfriend. We can treat you a little nicer now. So like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out, helps you out. Yeah. So Chiefs, big favorites, like you mentioned, -410 favorites. They're 9.5-point favorites. The over-under is 48.5. And that's pretty big odds for the NFL, right? NFL, like 9.5-point favorites is pretty big. And so you're thinking, all right, this is going to be kind of rough. But remember, last year when the Raiders went into Arrowhead and kicked Andy Reid in the dick, drove Travis Kelce's face into the ground, grounded Tyreek Hill, and we beat the Chiefs. They were 11-point favorites last season, -650 on the money line. So they were even bigger favorites last season, Soto, when we went into Arrowhead and knocked them off.
It seems like a whole world ago that game happened. So much is different from this team than that team. But a lot of the things that happen in that game have to happen in this one in order for us to win. And we'll get to all that later. But yeah, it's not insurmountable. Anytime it's cliche and everything, but when you have division rivals, yeah, you really kind of throw the records out the window.
So Giant Stakes tomorrow. We're recording this Saturday morning live. Giant Stakes tomorrow when we play the Chiefs. So obviously one of the most tumultuous years in NFL history. Like any team in NFL season, like you got to think to like the Saints having their season destroyed by Katrina. Like you have to think of like seasons like that. Those are the only seasons that are like more kind of messed up than the Raiders season, between losing half their front office in the offseason, losing the head coach the way we lost him, losing Ruggs the way we lost him, losing Damon Arnett the way we lost him. It's the anarchy, right? This could be a time for change if the owner, Mark Davis, wants it to be. So with so many primary jobs all hanging in the balance, this game could decide the future for interim head coach Rich Bisaccia, general manager Mike Mayock, franchise quarterback Derek Carr. If the Raiders go and just demolish the Chiefs on Sunday, just rip roar them, game plan is brilliant, Derek Carr goes off the wall, we shut down their offense, like it could be a job-saving performance for all three of those guys. On the flip side, if we get destroyed by the Chiefs like we did earlier in the season at home, we go into having a losing record. Playoffs, we wouldn't be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but we'd have to win, 4 straight games against 4 good teams to maybe make the playoffs. This isn't hyperbole to say, Soto, that every core person of the franchise, their job will be affected by the outcome of this game on Sunday.
Yeah, it's definitely that's a fact. This is, last week, okay, yeah, you got to win, 4 out of 6 games. Okay, that's doable. Let's go in here and make it happen, right? Against an inferior opponent in Washington. All right. Oh shit, we lost. Now we got to win 4 out of 5, and the easy game's gone. The same thing happened the last 2 years. Good record up front, faded late. Can't blame Gruden on this. It as much as what happened off the field, I'm just so sick of talking about it. Either you do it or you don't do it. And whether the next head coach, it's not going to be Rich Bisaccia. Let's just even if they blow him out this game and whatever, it's not going to be Rich Bisaccia. It's just
if
not.
we make the playoffs, 0% chance.
No, because the feeling is going to be that it wasn't Rich Bisaccia that brought us to the playoffs. It would be offensively more so than Olsen. It would be Derek Carr, because he would have to play like he did the first 5 games instead of the last 5. And defensively, it would be Gus Bradley. Okay, those are people who would get the shine. Bisaccia's just, if we do, I would be thoroughly disappointed if Bisaccia gets this job. So if they give, let's say, Dabo Swinney, let's just say, for example, or someone like him, the job, he's probably going to want to have more control, like an Urban Meyer type, where he's like the president and this and that, and he has, works very closely with the GM, whoever the GM may be, whether that be Mayock or somebody else. Or what I think we should do is actually hire a team president, a football guy team president, and have him make those decisions. Run them by Mark Davis, of course, because he's the owner, but him make the decisions on who the next coach is going to be. And then from there, once you have the president and you have the head coach in line, you have the GM in line, then you can start talking about players like DC and who else, as far as how you want to move forward with the franchise. But ultimately, I think too much has been put on tape, for this game to really matter either way for anyone's jobs.
I don't know, man. That Cowboys game kept everyone's hopes alive. That Thanksgiving Cowboys game when we beat them in overtime, drastically affected the narrative of the season in everybody's eyes. And you also got to think too, like, owners in general and Mark Davis specifically, like, Mark Davis isn't poring over a spreadsheet on like defensive DYOAs and just making a decision there. He's like, man, I was so pissed that we got blown out by the Chiefs twice. Fire everybody, right? Or, man, that was awesome how he came back late and made the playoffs. Like, even maybe it was like just super lucky, right? Like, let's say we play a bunch of teams.
People get hurt, and shit like that.
Right? Like something like that, and we just kind of like stumble into the playoffs. Things like that can get Mark Davis being like, okay, everything's awesome, or shit, everything's terrible. And so it's those primary moments that stick in owners' minds, again, specifically Mark Davis. So like going into Kansas City and just like stomping their dicks in, it really could save everybody's job, even if we don't make the playoffs. Like things like that. I'm not saying it should. I'm saying that's how Mark Davis and a lot of owners think. It's just like these are billionaires, right? Like it's less about like the business of the team for so many people and more just not being embarrassed with your buddies, going into the owners meetings in the off season and being able to hang one over, other owners that you beat, right? That's the ego that's with these team owners. And that's why like games like this matter so much. Whereas, okay, it's only one of 17 games, but emotionally it can drastically affect a dude.
Yeah, I really only see this staying the same if Raider Rich, I agree 100%. I was going to say that. Any optimism that we had going against Dallas, Washington football team showed who we are, which is an inconsistent football team. And I just don't think you can get away from that. I don't think this game is going to change that. Because, as much as we can say, oh, wow, we beat the Chiefs, and let's say we blow them out. Okay, we got blown out the last time. And then it's going to be like, okay, well, prove yourself next week and prove yourself next week. I think it's going to be more so the whole year, not just what happens in this game. There's been too many.
It should be that way. It should be that way, but owners are emotional people. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. Yeah. The only way I see this thing staying the same is if we go on to this crazy run and Bisaccia keeps his job. Bisaccia's going to keep everybody. He's going to keep DC. He's going to keep Mayock. That's the only way I really see it happening. Other than if we get a new coach or we get a team president who picks a new coach, I think 2 out of 3, maybe even 3 out of 3 are going to be gone.
Well, when you got a situation like that's going on in the Raiders, right? Where things were starting to trend right. You got a defensive coordinator that's improved the defense, although the defense has kind of fallen apart the last few games. But at least it's certainly better than it's been, right? When the basement for our defense is so low for the last 20 years, right?
I mean, have they really fallen apart? Like, how many? They only gave up a ton of points, really, against. I mean, an obscene amount of points against the Chiefs. Everyone else, I mean,
Cowboys,
yeah, but look at 17, 23, 20. Like,
we're bad on third downs, not getting turnovers. I mean, it's they're again. I said this at the beginning of the season. I'm not changing it. Like if the defense is like even just trends towards average, it's going to be hard for me to complain just because it's such a drastic improvement. And I'm still kind of sticking to that. But this could be that kind of game, right? And this one, and I think also like it's how you end to the Chargers game at the end of the season. I think could be a big deal for owners. And again, emotional decisions for these guys. And also think like cleaning house, right? Let's say they keep Mayock, right? Let's say Mark Davis says, okay, Mayock, we're going to give you a chance to be the actual GM, right? You're not under Gruden anymore. You actually get to make the decisions. You decide if we keep or get rid of Carr. You decide who the next head coaches be or if it's Bisaccia, right? You also got to think decision makers, they're just like everybody else. They're thinking, how can I keep my job? That's what they're thinking. How do I keep my job? Is Mike Mayock going to clean house? Because if he's wrong, he's immediately gone, right? Trades Carr, the next quarterback sucks, gets rid of his or whatever, right? Like he's gone, right? So often new guys make the safe decision. It's safer to keep Carr because you're like not risking more, right? You're kind of like, you kind of know what you got. You're not going to like completely bottom out, but you're not going to get the next Aaron Rodgers or whatever, right? That's the other part too, is like, guys where their job is on the line, they do generally the conservative thing to keep their job. And I don't know if anyone in that organization, other than Mark Davis, feels like they have enough cachet, enough job security to say, I'm cleaning house. I'm going crazy with this new coach. I'm going to trade Carr and draft the next guy next season. Like that's a bold move. That's a very bold move for someone that feels like they have great job security.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of lean the other way. If you feel like you don't have job security, you may have to make that elaborate presentation. If you can, look, even if we make the playoffs this year by some stroke of just luck or just miracle that we make the playoffs, miracle, you have to take a look at a couple of things. And late season collapses, that's one of them. So if Mayock gets the feeling that he's not very, very secure, right? He could say, look, this is the issues that I'm seeing. Here is my plan moving forward. That's the big thing that Reggie McKenzie, when he got the job as GM, that he sold Mark Davis on. This is where we are right now. And he put it on Hugh Jackson. He really didn't put it on Al Davis, right? He said, well, Hugh Jackson fucked us over. This is my plan moving forward.
Well, that was a little different because Hugh Jackson got us stuck in a bunch of terrible contracts.
I understand, but
McKenzie got us out of,
Yeah, but that's it. Switch out contract for players. Switch out contract for the last 3 years collapses. Like this is where we're stuck in this mode right now. We're trying to build off of what we have currently, and we've done the same thing the last 3 years. It's not working. Here's my plan moving forward. If he can sell Mark Davis on that, then he has a lot more job security because it's going to take a couple of years, but this is my plan moving forward. Because Mark Davis knows more than us who had the final say as far as who we're drafting. So if he can say, look, he didn't listen to me. Gruden didn't listen to me. He wanted to do the same shit. Look at the people that he drafted. Look at the questionable picks that he made. Look at how many first-round picks we just threw away on whims by John Gruden. Yeah. Look at my picks that I made later in the draft. Look at the guys that I got. Look at the Renfros. Look at the Crosbys. Look at those guys. They're basically one of the best players on defense and then one of the best players on offense that we have. I drafted them late. So let me build this team. Let's send away. I mean, I'm not saying we should or should have, but just for example, let's send away one of the players that can give us the most assets back and let me build this team up so we can be where we need to be. That can happen and that can work as if he can put out a sensible plan with like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
It's another element too, and we'll move on to the X's and O's here in a second. But the other part is too, if you take that giant risk and you swing huge and you fail, that's on your job resume for the rest of your life, right? Like that's the other part too. It's like, okay, let me take a giant swing.
When you work for Mark Davis, do you think other teams are really going to be like, yeah, man, you really fucked that up? All you can say is, look, man, Mark Davis didn't let me do a goddamn thing. You know how he is. Like, come on, man.
That's not true. Dude, you think Mark Davis went into the draft room and told Gruden or Mayock, yes, draft that guy, don't draft that guy? I don't think so at all.
Dude, Mark Davis knew that John Gruden was fucking up. He had no clue. He let John Gruden do whatever he wanted. There's always a way to explain it away when you have not the best rep like Mark Davis does. Like he's getting Al S. Now here's the thing. He could be just Bradley like Al.
May never get another head coaching position ever because of how bad he did with the Jaguars, despite the fact that what he's done for the defense of the Seahawks, Chargers, and what he's starting to do with the Raiders. He may never get a head coaching job again because of this terrible stint with the Jaguars. And that's my point is if this all blows up in Mayock's face, he may never be in football again. He just be a broadcaster for the rest of his until he retires.
But the thing is Bradley's defense that he built the year after he left was like a top 5 defense. And those were all his guys running his defense. So he could always hang his head on. Again, what I'm saying is you could always explain things away. And you just need one person. You just need one person to believe in you. So I don't really think that. I mean, honestly, we're seeing Mark Davis, who he is now. We remember Al Davis when he back before, like senile Al Davis. Mark Davis could turn into that very easily, and he very well might.
Maybe, but he showed no signs of it, right? He's been a very hands-off owner when it comes to like micromanaging stuff, right? I mean, he could, right? Anything can happen. It's just he's shown no signs of it, right? Let's move on to the game. Chiefs 5-game win streak right now in their last 6 games. But this is the thing: the Chiefs, they're back. Are they? Hold on. This is in the last 6 games. This is how many points the Chiefs have scored. Against the Titans, they scored 3. Against the Giants, they scored 20. Packers, they've scored 13. Cowboys, they scored 19. Broncos, they scored 22. Now, I skipped one game. The Raider game. They scored 41, right? So they're still, their offense is still what it's been all season. We just made them look like the old Chiefs last game when Patrick Mahomes went 35 of 50 for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like we made the good offensively brilliant Chiefs are in there, but they've only been able to come out against the Raiders. They can be bottled up again.
Yeah, but none of those other teams have a Jonathan Abram in coverage.
They got worse guys in coverage. Other teams have worse guys in coverage. I'm not trying to defend Abram.
I don't think anyone is
bad guys. There's really bad coverage safeties out there.
I don't think anyone is worse than Jonathan Abram in coverage. I really don't. And the thing is, they play differently against us than they did against other teams.
Yeah.
So Andy Reid's got a fucking hard on for beating us. And look, throw all that shit out the window, man, because they're going to come guns blazing. They're going to have a specific game plan. They haven't shown anything.
You said Andy Reid's hard on, and for some reason I imagined Andy Reid feels like the guy that when he has sex with his wife, he just kind of pokes his dick out of his boxers and just kind of just does that under the covers. You know what I mean?
He's got hot Cheeto dust and gravy on his dick from his not washing his hands after he ate.
Yeah, but that's what turns him on, you know? He can't get it up unless he's got gravy on his dick.
That good gravy though, the fucking turkey fat gravy, not
I'm not knocking
the
gravy.
Packaged gravy.
I need more gravy in my life. It's fantastic. Well, so that's the Chiefs in the last 5 games, 5-0. Raiders 1-4 in the last 5 games. Big injury issues for the Raiders. Darren Waller not playing, our best player, obviously terrible. Jalen Richard, our best receiving back, out with COVID. Carl Nassib out. And we thought, okay, well, we can bottle up the run game. Well, Denzel Perryman, doubtful as of now to play. Our best player on offense, one of our best players on defense, and our best receiving back, either not playing or likely not playing. Serious injury concerns.
Our two best receiving backs is Drake's out too. He's out for the year.
Drake's on IR. Bad injury concerns. So that's all that. But with all that said, we still got a game to play. Here we go. Raiders 6-6, Chiefs 8-4. Chiefs passing, not bad. 281 yards per game. That's fifth. Still behind the Raiders. Raiders still second best passing attack in football. Defense is similar. Terrible rushing defenses by both. Maybe this is a game. Maybe this is finally the game Josh Jacobs can kind of get something going. Who knows? Passing defense by the Chiefs, awful. Awful. Like Derek Carr, on paper, can easily have the type of game that Patrick Mahomes had against us, which is how bad the Chiefs' pass defense is. It's the pass rush I'm more worried about.
If we trade Jonathan Abram to the Chiefs.
God, he has like 2.5 bad games, and you forget all the other good games he had over the season. And they were bad. They were bad games, don't get me wrong. But that's like, 130 tackles we got to replace that Jonathan Abram has?
Yeah. I'm
That's
not
all?
a big Abram fan.
Yeah.
Dude, what do I want me to tell you, man? I'm not a big Abram fan. He's a safety
Really?
that can't
You need to
cover.
bring it up
he's
more.
a DB that can't cover people.
So what's the offense going to look like then, right? Like, what's the offense going to look like? Best passing threat gone. Best passing, the two best receiving backs not playing. Our deep threat gone. Deshaun Jackson maybe still kind of hobbling like he was last week. I mean, is this another game where Hunter Renfrow gets like 200 yards because there's no one else to pass to?
We're not going to win if it is. Then we're not going to win if it is. We need to be more diverse offensively. Derek Carr spreading the ball around like he was like the first 3 games. We had 3 receivers with 200 yards. That's what we need to have. We need to have that spread offense. We need to don't know where it's going. Keep the defense on their toes. We're just very predictable right now, and we can't win that way. We can't move the ball that way for sure.
Yeah, and we've been calling it forever, right? Like it's harder to be the offense that we've been telling the offense to be, like you said, wide open, deep, because you don't have Ruggs stretching the field, you don't got Waller underneath, you don't got Drake catching swing passes, you don't have an offensive line that can give you 5 dropbacks. Hopefully, this is the game where a little bit of run game gets going, sets up the play action. You do the screenplays to keep the pass rush honest. Just a well orchestrated one thing plays off the other thing, plays off the other thing, plays off the other thing.
Yeah, we have to have a more sophisticated game plan. We have to anticipate what the Chiefs want to do defensively against us, and also be dynamic enough and fluid enough to adjust our game plan pretty early in the game. I think we wait a little bit too long to adjust our game plan, which shows in some of the second half offense that we've had, especially against Washington, when we didn't do anything in the whole first half, and then we actually scored in the second half. We take too long to adjust. So we need to be a little bit better at that, and that's coaching staff.
So how do you think they should open up? Should they open up huge and that sets up run game and stuff underneath? Or do they start out kind of like, not to replicate what we did against Washington, but starting out with kind of swing passes and try to get the defense to creep up and then go over the top? Like, that's the thing, is obviously over the top is the goal. Do you just open up guns firing, or do you try to set that up as the game goes along?
Yeah, I don't think over the top should be our goal. I think our mid-range passing game should be our goal. The whole swing pass shit is not going to work. The whole over the top stuff is not going to work. The Chiefs secondary is just too good to fall for that stuff. They're not going to fall for it. It's just, don't even try it. We have to use. Well, man, there's a couple other keys coming forward. We can get into those keys if you want.
Fire away.
All right. So first off, let's start with the defense, because I think
I like how you need my permission to start doing like the really.
Well, you're running the show. I mean,
no, I'm just flexing my alpha on you. No big deal. Just a reminder.
Bro, if you want me to
if
you want me to just pull out and just do whatever the fuck I want, I know you don't like me to pull out.
I know your pullout game's terrible.
It is very weak.
It's
not as bad as Jacobs.
I will. I know you've been hanging out with Josh Jacobs too much. You've been learning his technique. I will allow you to do your points now, Soto.
His technique is just falling asleep inside, just like whatever happens. Jesus, take the wheel. Okay, 5 keys on defense.
Okay.
Looking through the past 5 games, looking through our last meeting, these are things that are trends for both teams and things that we need to look at going forward in this next game. So key number 1, we have to win the turnover battle. So Kansas City, their defense basically led the way during the win streak. Even though they scored 41 points, we only scored what? Like 13 or some shit like that?
41-14.
14, yeah. So even though they scored 41, they didn't need all 41 of those. Those late touchdowns were because we were turning the ball over and 3 and outing and stuff like that. So we dropped 4 interceptions in the first meeting against the Chiefs. Can't happen again. They were there. Our defense worked. Our defense flustered Mahomes. We just didn't play the balls correctly, and we dropped 4 chances for interception. So we have to win that battle going forward in this.
It's weird. Like offensively, we need to just be us, right? Like just great passing attack, protect the ball, like be us, like our good version of us. But on defense, we kind of have to be somebody else, right? We're not a great takeaway team. Like you said, we're literally dropping interceptions left and right every single game. Like Tyler Heineke was begging us to intercept his passes, and we only got 1. Mm-hmm. A takeaway, aggressive defense is not how we're built. But I think you're right. I think Gus Bradley should be in that DB meeting and be like, hey, if you think they're going to cut inside, dive for that ball instead of just like hanging back and guaranteeing you get the tackle.
Well, yeah. Just like the fumbles early in the year where we were recovering all our fumbles, I would like to think that this kind of evens out towards the end of the year where we actually start catching some of these interceptions. Mm-hmm. Quick stat. The last 5 games, 5-0 winning streak for the Chiefs, they have 6 turnovers. Not great, but they forced 11 in these last 5 games, whereas we have committed 7 turnovers and only forced 4. And we've had plenty of opportunity, especially the Washington football team game and against the Chiefs. Had plenty of opportunity there. So key number 2 on defense, we have to sack Patrick Mahomes. Pressure's not going to do it against him. Okay, we pressured him the last game, and he's okay with checking the ball down and getting the yards that he gets from there and continuing. And they weren't all 2-3 yard catches either. They had a lot of runs after catch. So the first thing about Mahomes against pressure is he keeps his eyes downfield. He doesn't focus on the rush. He scrambles around and he looks for the deep play first, and then he works his way down, which what I really want Derek Carr to do, which he did the first couple games of the year and has gotten away from since. He has to keep his eyes downfield against pressure and then work his way back. That's what Mahomes does on every single play. He's always looking to make you pay on every single play. But he's okay, especially against us, with taking the check down, and that's really hurts us because we're scrambling in mode and trying everyone to get him on the ground, and we leave, a back or a backup tight end wide open.
I feel like, I think if honestly, and I hate to like make games about refs, but if the refs allow the tackles to hold our ends, we're so fucked.
Yeah,
like that's the problem. Like if they actually will call holding penalties against who's ever blocking Crosby or Ngakoue, then I think we'll be all right. I think I think we'll get some steady pressure, force Mahomes into just some very characteristic errors that he's making this season. But if these guys are free to just like mug our ends, then Mahomes is going to do what he wants.
Pretty much. Pressure is not going to cut it anymore. We have to get sacks. Casey has given up 7 sacks in the last 5 games. In the last meeting, we got 0 sacks against Mahomes. Key number 3 on defense, protect Abram in coverage. Mm-hmm. We have to figure out a way to protect them, whether that is to run a game, have him be a part of a double team against either Kelsey or Tyreek Hill where he has help. We can't even just put him on the back because we saw a back torch him for a 50-yard touchdown last game.
What we want to do, and this is like the one good thing that Paul Gunther did last year is he would rush 3 against the Chiefs and then leave someone to spy Mahomes, right? So he'd rush and then just drop 7 in coverage, right? Jonathan Abrams should either be blitzing or spying Patrick Mahomes because that's what he does really well. That's what he wants to do, right? Last season, right? He's bailing on coverage to go chase quarterbacks because he thinks they're going to run. Just put him there. Let Abram just spy Mahomes. 1, like he'll be able to stop the scramble. 2, if he dumps it off, that's still kind of Abram. Like Abram's still kind of in that, just like 5 to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage, kind of just like guarding that area, right? It protects against their screenplays, right? It's good for that. Just have Abram be kind of a little roaming spy guy, right? Don't put him in coverage deep against Travis Kelce. Either have him blitz or spy Mahomes. It's exactly what he excels at.
Yeah. They actually used Abram a couple of plays as a spy on Kelce because they used Kelce as a blocker a lot on Crosby. And I'm going to get this. This is actually leading into my next point is have a better plan against the tight end that will remain nameless.
Yeah, I fucked up and said his name.
Yeah.
10 lashes.
But just to go back to the last point number 3, Abram gave up 9 catches on 9 targets for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was just Abram. So going forward in this game, one of the big things, and Paul, I agree with you, on third down, their biggest weapon was Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce had 8 catches. 7 of those went for first downs. So what they did a lot was they used him as an extra blocker, not just a chip person, but an extra blocker on Crosby, and they released him late. So whoever was covering him went either kind of fell back a little bit more and weren't able to make the catch. And a couple of times that was Abram. And when that happened, they identified it and they had some call or whatever where they just shot Kelce out deep because they knew Abram was on him. And then Abram was like, oh shit. He's not going to catch this ball 3 yards from the line of scrimmage. They're sending this guy deep, and then they stopped doing it after that. Now, to the defense's credit, after they released Kelce deep late, they stopped using Abram as the spy on Kelce. But we need to have a better plan and limit his yards after catch. It was the yards after catch from Kelce that killed us, especially on third down.
Do we dare have Divine Diablo cover Kelce?
I think we should. I think that's
he played so well last week.
He's big enough. Hero. He's fast enough. And God darn it, people like him.
A rookie in his second game ever in the NFL on Travis Kelce. Well, that'd be ballsy.
Well, think about what Belichick does. He puts you in a position to use your strengths to help the team. What are Divine Diablo's strengths? He's big and he's fast. We already seen that Kelce is going to help out.
He has a sweet name.
He does. Double D, big titties. So he already we've seen what they did the last game. If they do that same kind of late release with Kelce when he blocks Crosby off the line and kind of helps out on him, that's an excellent option is to use Diablo to stick with him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Key number 5. Swarmed to the ball. Casey killed us on yards after catch the last game. The tight end who will remain nameless, even though I've said his name a bunch of times, and Damian Williams were the worst culprits in that. It's got to be a total team effort to limit yards after catch. We have to form tackle. We have to break down. We have to make sure that we keep everything in front of us and don't let them turn a 3-4 yard gain into an 8, 9, 10, 11 yard gain.
And that should be a standard issue Gus Bradley defense.
Unfortunately, that didn't work against the Chiefs the first time. They got a lot of yards after catch. Okay, moving on to the offense. If you're ready, sir. 5 keys on offense.
You may continue.
All right, here we go. Key number 1, score. We have to score freaking points. Here we go.
Dare I say we need to score more than them? Is that
Listen,
too much?
I didn't put that on here.
High tech of an analysis?
No, if that I didn't put that on here, but that does make a lot of sense. Okay. In our first 7 games, we averaged 25.7 points, so 26 points a game in our first 7 games. In our last 5 games, 18.8 points a game. Mm-hmm. That's a whole touchdown less. We've averaged a touchdown less the last 5 games. So it sounds like, oh God, well, yeah, fuck, of course we got to score. No, we got to score the way we were scoring early in the year. Now, if you take away the 36 points that we had against Dallas, we're averaging 14 points a game. So 14 points a game in our last 4 losses. You're not going to win any games scoring 14 points per game. Key number 2, to your point, your question earlier, get Deshaun Jackson involved early. He had a 1 catch for 38 yards and 1 fumble, costly fumble in the first game. He was only targeted twice. The secondary has been killing it for them. They're getting a lot of interceptions. They're creating a lot of turnovers, as we saw, 11 turnovers the last 5 games on their win streak. So we have to use Deshaun Jackson to not take the top off and throw the ball deep, but use him more to open up the middle part of the field, so you can use Moreau, so you can use Zay Jones not on deep pass, so you can use Renfro where he's the most comfortable and getting yards after the catch, so you can use that screen play. So you can use him like you used Ruggs last year, more of a decoy, but when he's open, you take the top off.
Yeah.
All right, key number 3, no 3 and outs. 3 and outs murdered us the last game. KC has shown that they're going to play ball control against us because they know that it's just going to bide their time until we make a mistake, and then they're going to hit us deep or they're going to hit us for the touchdown. The last game, the time of possession, Kansas City, 35 minutes and 26 seconds and 76 plays. Your Las Vegas Raiders, 24 minutes, 34 seconds, and 51 plays. 25 less plays than the Chiefs and more than 10 minutes less time of possession. We have to even that out. We can't let them just eat up the clock and score touchdowns while we're going 3 and out.
Well, it's weird because, like, in a John Gruden offense, the 3 and outs hurt way more, right? Because that's the type of offense he wants. 10, 12, 15 play touchdown drives was his goal, right? The Raiders we have now, it's like our best drives are 3 plays. You know what I mean? Like that's when the Raiders are at their best post John Gruden and Greg Olsen and Derek Carr's offense. It's like, a 10-yard pass, a 40-yard pass, and then another 40-yard pass, and it's a touchdown, right? Like so it's weird because, like, you're right. Like, clearly 3 and outs are bad for the offense, like, no doubt about it, right? But it's weird because that's not as critical to this style of offense when it's at its best. Now when they decide to be like, oh, we're going to run 3 swing passes in a row, then those third downs become massive. If we're going deep to Djax and we're going deep, we're going middle to Renfro, and even if Zay Jones can get on the deep game, then that's kind of how you cure those 3 and out problems. Is kind of just
don't get the third down. Yeah, we should just avoid third down at all possible.
Let's just score a touchdown on the first down of every drive.
That sounds good to me. But the thing is also, what you didn't mention is the 3 and outs kill our defense.
Yeah, wear them out.
Especially late in the game, like we saw. We had a tight game going into the second half. In the middle of the third quarter, the wheels started to fall off because we weren't moving the ball. We weren't really holding the ball, and we weren't protecting our defense. And our defense can work for us, but we have to give them some help.
Especially with all of our linebackers hurt. Like, you're just not getting the rotation to keep everybody fresh.
Key number 4, get something from the run game. The last game we had 14 rushes for 50 yards, like 3.6-ish, 3.3 and change, 3.5. Yeah, we have to get some more out of it. Now, historically, especially this season, we've run better out of typically passing formations. That's when we can get the defense's ears pinned back. We use those delays. We use those draw plays. And we've also ran some power running schemes off of 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, which tend to work because you get the defensive ends pinned back, and then you kick them out with a guard or a pulling tackle or something like that. That's really helped us a lot this year. That's why, like, to your point, we have to come out like we're going to throw the ball deep, but don't. Kind of like what the Chiefs did against us. Come out and have everyone think we're going to throw the ball deep and use all that space underneath. That's what we should do this game. And then when it's open, of course, throw the ball deep. But we have to get something from the run game. In the games that we've won, we've actually ran the ball a lot more than we haven't. I think that I was looking at the fourth quarters, which is the next one, of the fourth quarters of our last 5 games, and they're like 9 out of 10, like 90% passes. And these aren't blowout games. These are games that we're in that we can run the ball, but we're passing the ball 90% of the time. We have to keep the run game involved.
It's just so weird because I was thinking like, yeah, we should run out of passing formations more because our first and third string tight ends are gone, right? And like we're one of the few teams that does like multiple 3 tight end sets, because when you've got Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, Derek Carrier, it's like, yeah, let's get all 3 guys on the field. But I'm like, okay, they're injured, so let's go wide again. But then I'm like, wait, all our receivers are either hurt or in jail too. It's like, who are our 4? If we go 4 wide, the optimal 4 wide formation would be Renfro, Edwards, D-Jack, Moreau, Zay Jones on the sideline. Like what's the optimal 4 wide receiver set? Like it's.
I mean, who else do we have?
They're damn bare.
Who else do we have receiver wise?
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's who we have to. Like is that our optimal? Zay Jones instead of Foster? Like what's like that's our optimal setup right there.
Yeah, we don't have a fullback anymore.
Edwards and D-Jacks inside Hunter and Moreau.
Well, who are your 5 receiving threats going to be? I mean,
Hunter.
We don't have a fullback anymore, so we're going to have to go 3 wide or 4 wide even, and a running back, 3 wide, a running back, and a tight end. I mean, we have to do that, but we have to have the formations as such where they feel like we're going to pass the ball. And we have to run at opportune times, and we can't get these 1 yard gains, -1 yard runs. We can't do that. It's just not going to work out for us, man. We have to make sure that we get something from the run game to help our pass game out a little bit. Again, we have to pass to set up our run. They have to fear something downfield for us to be able to get this running game going. All right, number 5. Are you ready?
Fire away.
DC needs to ball out in the 4th quarter. He has to.
Nice.
He cannot take a dump like he has in the 4th quarter. He has to ball out. In the last 5 games, that's including the Dallas Cowboy victory, he is 49 for 73, 67%, not terrible, 582 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and 2 fumbles. That's the last 5 games only, and only in the 4th quarter. The completion percentage, 67%, good. The yards per average for the 1 quarter in the game, 116, good. Even the yards per attempt, right? 8 yards per attempt, that's good. But the 1 to 4 touchdown to turnover ratio is no bueno. We can't settle for the dry hump anymore. Okay? We got to seal the deal. We got to P and G. No more dry humping. No more moving the ball down the field and not getting touchdowns and not getting points. We have to score. Let's stop looking at these stats that don't mean anything. Dude, the yards, the completion percentage, that means dick. What matters here is 1 touchdown, 4 turnovers in the last 5 games in the 4th quarter. That's it. That's what matters. And that's where he needs to improve.
Yeah, I mean, a quarterback play better. Yes, please. Like, that's great. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, that's obvious. It's like, how do we get there? Right? How do we get Derek Carr in a position?
Obvious, man. Here's the problem. When you say it's obvious, it's not, because a lot of people are going to gravitate to, well, he's completing 2 out of 3 passes. He's got more than 115 yards every 4th quarter. What else do you want him to do? Forget all that. That doesn't matter. You don't get points for yards. You get points for putting the ball in the end zone. That's what we need to do. That's what needs to happen. Focus on the 1 touchdown for 4 interceptions.
Clear. It's the how.
As clear. It's not.
It is.
I agree with what you're saying. I agree that it's the how. The how is very important, but it's not as clear as you think, man. And that's why a lot of these people who are like, Derek Carr walks on water, is because they're looking at the wrong stats. He has, for all the yards he has this year, he has 17 touchdowns. That's not good. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's not good for 12 games to have 17 touchdowns, for having all those, to be the 2nd leading passer in the league. So he's Mr. Dry Hump. He's Mr. Oh, my junior high girlfriend wouldn't let me get any. He'll mean, over the shirt, over the jeans. Like, we can't have that. We have to score the ball. DC has to ball out, especially in the fourth quarter. How do we do it?
And my question is how, right?
Okay.
Like,
and I'll tell
running
you,
in the red zone. Do we run the ball more in the red zone? Do you think that's going to help?
I think what we need to do is we need to be a lot less predictable on offense. We need to do a lot more hurry up, right? A lot more shotgun, a lot more hurry up. That is when Carr excels. When he's able to read a defense, when the defense doesn't have time to switch in and out and make this elaborate scheme. Okay, they're doing this now. Okay, great. This is their formations. This is their package. Okay, great. This is what they're going to run. We have this week. We pick our best guys, right? We give the ball to Derek Carr. Okay, you make the decisions. That's what happened the first 3 games of the year. We ran a lot.
I do love the idea of a hurry up red zone offense. That does
no, hurry up
anything
offense from the very beginning, or hurry up offense. Let's go. That's what happened the first 3 games of the year. Let's give the ball to DC. He sees what we have on defense. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. It's not going to be super elaborate or super crazy. They're not going to really fool us a lot because a lot of these, they're not going to have time to really get the groupings in that they want to do these elaborate defense. It's going to be pretty vanilla on their end, right? Mm-hmm. So we see what we know what we have. Okay, we have the groupings. We have the personnel that we want. How do I run a play off of this? Let Carr use his mind pre-snap, which is going to be a lot more accurate pre-snap when the defense can't switch in and out.
Isn't that opposite of what we were saying earlier in the show, though, where we wanted a really good orchestrated offensive game plan? Because you have to have one or the other. You can't have both, right? Either we're running hurry up and Carr's just like reacting to the defense and picking it, or we're orchestrating this sets up this sets up this sets up this offense. It's one or the other. So that's why I kind of feel like outside of the 20s, right? The middle 60 yards, right? Mm-hmm. That's when we orchestrate an offense, set up the deep pass sets up whatever. We get to red zone, boom, we're in your fucking face, KC. We're up in the ball. We're getting
Makes
snapped.
sense. I would say even maybe like the 35-ish in that range. Once we're in field goal range, go for broke, because we shit in the red zone anyway. So why even care about that?
Yeah.
You know, we have a great kicker in Carlson. He's going to make the field goal. Who gives a shit about getting to the 20 or getting to the 12 instead of the 22? Who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is in the fourth quarter, we have the information from the first 3 quarters. Let's use that information to build tendencies from the defense and have Carr process that information so he can do more of a hurry up in the fourth quarter. We can't play scared against these guys. We can't play. Now, it's going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my face here, but we can't play ball control against these guys. We still have to remain aggressive. We still have to remain down the field, and that does fall in line with the 3 and outs. We can't leave ourselves in these big third downs. We have to keep pressing. We have to keep them on their heels. We can't let them tee off on us, and that's what happens when we get into 3rd and longs. So use Carr's brain, use his computing knowledge as far as the offense goes, is his knowledge of the offense, and use that information to help us in the fourth quarter. He needs to play better in the fourth quarter as far as points go. Moving the ball, that's fine. You have to move the ball to score, but you got to get it in.
Mo Dizzle, first off, thank you so much for the super chat. We are super chattable now, guys. Glad you guys are chiming in. Second of all, love the profile pic. Awesome.
That was the Oprah Winfrey episode, right?
Yeah. I think so, right? Wasn't it? I love you, baby. I love you, Oprah.
I'll be the Rolls Royce.
Finally caught you guys live. Love the show. Very entertaining. Don't change it. We promise we won't. Let's go Raiders. Extend Derek Carr. I mean, this is the kind of game that he can make the case to extend or not, right? Like these are one of those games where that's what it comes down to, right? Like, again, you look at numbers, you look at win percentage, you look at all this data, but so often so many of these football decisions are just made of, man, remember when he crushed Kansas City and saved the season? Or remember when he just shit the bed and the season just disappeared in Kansas City? So many football decisions are made like that. And this is one of those seminal moments Sunday morning.
This game is going to decide whether Derek Carr's great grandkids are extremely wealthy or just his grandkids.
Just as great kids.
Because look,
there's a lot riding on this in the car.
There's a whole other generation here. Because
do they get to buy their own island, or are they going to have to rent?
True.
That's the
at least with an option to buy. So, if this is a turning point in the season, because I said it last week. We said 4-2 the last 6 games. We pretty much counted this game as a loss. All right. And we counted last week's game as a win. If we flip them and we go 1-1, like we thought we were going to go 1-1 anyway, we're in the same boat. All right. We have to make sure that these tendencies that we've been going downhill the last 5 games that we correct. That is the points per game. That is the time of possession, turnover ratio. We have to be more fluid and more dynamic, coaching-wise as well. We can't get as badly out-coached as we did the last game. That just can't happen again, man. I understand that up and down, they have a better coaching staff than we do in almost every single position. Just like we have teams that have inferior talent that end up winning, we have to figure out and have our best coaching game today too, or tomorrow.
Good coaching today would help too, game planning, what have you. So a couple things going forward. I'm feeling really confident in Casey Hayward, Trayvon Mullen, who's back, and Nate Hobbs being able to corral their passing threats. I'm feeling pretty confident in those 3 guys. They are balling out for us. I like that setup for us. Again, big game for us coming up. If we lose, we're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but it certainly looks like a terrible situation. But it's the Chiefs. These are the kind of games that no one believes the Raiders could win, that they win more than any other. Last year, we were bigger underdogs, went to Kansas City, and we kicked them right in the taint. This season, underdogs, we know what we're capable of. We're a better team in all 3 phases of football than we were last season. Screw the injuries, screw the issues, screw the drama. These are the games that are emotional, that you're driven, that's energy pushing. We talk X's and O's all day long, and they're important. But this is one of those kick dirt in their face, punch them in the mouth, and win a football game over your rival in one of the toughest places for the Raiders to win. We talked for 50 minutes. That's basically what this game is. A rivalry game, OA, season on the line. Your damn jobs are on the line. Half the people in that organization. Prove that you care. That's what this game is.
I would say almost every job is on the line. And here's the reason why. If the coaching staff is gone, nobody on that team feels safe. Because new coaches come in, what are they going to do? They're going to want to bring their own guys. It's just like in business, just like in life. You get a new boss in, they want to bring in their own people. They're not going to just keep everybody the same. They're going to bring in their own guys that they feel comfortable with. So everything is on the line here. Everybody
like
in
the
that
Palm Strip Club by our house. New management, don't recognize a single girl. Sad day. That could be the Raiders. A giant strip club in Long Beach.
They got some baddies now.
They had baddies before, but I liked it when I was on a first name basis. You know what I mean? Now I have to restart again. Oh, where are you from? What's your lie? What's my new lie? I don't like making up new lies. I like to lie.
It's the same old lie. Bitches love lies.
That's true. Good point. Don't lie to me, Soto. Lie to girls.
Lie to girls.
That's the advice I can give.
That's the best advice I ever saw from a movie. And that was the movie was Back to School, Rodney Dangerfield. If no one's seen it, go see it. It's one of the prototypical 80s comedy, just flashing tits, raunch comedies of the 80s.
Is it technically a sports movie because it's about college diving?
It's about the triple Lindy, yes.
Yep.
So Rodney Dangerfield's son goes to college. He's kind of a loser. He said he made the diving team, but he's a towel boy.
And it's Ralph Macchio.
It's not Ralph Macchio.
Isn't it?
It isn't. No.
Isn't he in it?
No. The Adrian, not Adrian Smith. The actual Karate Kid guy is in it. He's the bad guy.
That's right. He's
the bad guy. And then Robert Downey Jr. plays his weird best friend when he was still all coked out and fun. So, he's like, I'm your father. You don't lie to your father. You lie to girls.
You're getting that tattooed as a tramp stamp, so it'll be perfect.
How do you know I don't already have it?
All right, we'll be doing our post-game show Sunday right after the game, just like always, after the victorious and brilliant win that the Raiders pull on the rivals.
Everyone needs their best game this week. Everybody, all the coaching staff, all the players, the GM, the owner, The ball boys needs to keep those balls nice and warm. Everybody.
If we win, does Bisaccia have the bus do a victory lap around Arrowhead Stadium like Gruden did last season?
You know what we should do? Would be a baller move. We actually did this. Okay, so I went to this really small high school, and there was these two really big high schools that were in our league. I don't know why. They were like their freshman class was as big as our entire school, right? Yeah. And they always kicked the shit out of us. We actually beat one of them one year, and the bus driver like warmed up the brakes and was pumping them, so it looked like we were like fucking like hitting switches with the bus on the way out. That's what they got to do. They got to hit the switches on the bus on the way out. That bus driver was gangster.
All right, we're gonna be this happy tomorrow afternoon when the Raiders kick the teeth in on the Kansas City Chiefs. But until then, knock on wood if you're with me.